And welcome to another episode of Guitar Rescue. This Guitar Rescue is we're going to install a LR Baggs pickup in this Martin Dreadnought guitar, this beautiful Martin. So this episode is not so much a guitar rescue as a guitar improvement, and as they say in the medical field, first do no harm. So we're going to try not to do any damage to this gorgeous Martin guitar. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the tools that you're going to need. I'm going to take you step by step through it. Why would I do this? This guitar actually has a Martin thin line pickup installed at the factory in it with a fabulous sound, but it has uncontrollable feedback, and there is no volume control on it. So you'd have to put it through a DI and adjust it from the DI or the pedal. So I like to have my volume and tone on the guitar so I can do it from right here. So that's what we hope we're going to get accomplished today. So I'm going to show you what you're going to need for this episode in just a second. Or most of all of them, you need a mirror of some kind, preferably one with a light on it. You need measuring tools so that you can measure the height of the strings and the height of the saddle before you take it apart, okay, at least on the strings. I have a fancy measuring tool caliper, but I also have a simple little gauge that you use for tire tread depth. And it's a perfect gauge to measure the string height. The action on this guitar right now is perfect. I'd like to bring it back to that when I'm done. And I'm probably going to have to take down the saddle a little bit. So you're going to need to have a little block and some sandpaper to bring the saddle level down. You're going to need a string winder. You're going to need a drill and some drill bits. You can need masking tape to protect it, and some marking tools like pencils to mark the saddle where it was originally. And then, hang on one second, I'm going to show you one other tool we're going to use. And when you're drilling on the top of the guitar, you want to have something to protect the top of the guitar. So I had made this heat shield protection in the last episode that I did about replacing a bridge. So I'm just going to use this just in case the drill gets away from you. You don't want to damage the top of the guitar. So that's pretty much the tools. If I come across more, you'll see them as we go. So we're going to try to make this happen quickly for you. So I'm going to stop and start as I go along and show you how it goes. Don't forget, step one is to measure your action before you take it apart so you can get it back there when you put the new saddle underneath the new Piazzo. It's going to be taller than the one that came out of here, I believe. So I use this tire gauge. It's in 30 of an inch, which is perfect, and I'm measuring around at the 12th fret. And for my purposes, it's got a bright red color at the bottom. So, and at the top of that line is 4/32. So for this purpose, I'm reading it at the top of the string. I know that you have to remove the string from it, but it'll work the same way when I put the string back on. So it's like 4/32 at the top of the string here, and it's like 2/32 at the top of the little high E string. This is got the lowest action I've seen on an acoustic guitar, and I love it. It plays so good, so I want to get back there. So now we're going to loosen the strings and take them off, but because I need to adjust this saddle, I'm not going to replace these strings yet. I'm going to save these strings. I'm going to take it up from this end. I'll show you in just a minute how I do that. Okay, so here's what I did. I loosened the strings, unwound the strings here. Then I put a Kaiser capo on about 6th fret, and so that I can have slack here and the strings stay on the head. And then I pop the pins up, and now we're going to take those out of there. And next step is I'm going to measure the saddle height. Okay, we popped the pins out, and we ran a line as close as we could to the bottom of the saddle, and we took the saddle out. Just a quick tip on pins. This happened to me one time. I was restringing a custom-made guitar. It was made by a luthier, and I took the pins out and put them down. And then after I was putting the strings on, I realized that each one of those pins was cut for the string that it was on. That's the first time that ever happened to me. But anyway, so now I try to keep the pins in the order that they came out, just so that I don't have to figure that out later. And I put my little guard on here for now, because I was working around here with a tool. So this works good. Be right back. Okay, now we're going to look inside at the pickup that we're going to take out and see how that was installed, and see how they ran the wires and stuff like that. Also, you could put a phone in here, and you could maybe video as you go along what here, and you could maybe video as you go along what everything looks like in here. I wanted to look at this mount for the battery mount and see how it was, and I wanted to see how they ran it this way. Up to the front to get the battery connection there, and see how that goes. See where the wires go. Clip. And we've got a video of that, I hope. Before I removed the this pickup, the Martin pickup from the guitar, it already had an end pin drilled because it had the pickup in it. So I took the end pin out, and by the way, this pickup that's coming out of here is actually made by Fishman. So that's coming out. Before I go any further, I wanted to make sure that my new Element end pin was going to fit in the hole, and I wasn't going to have to do a bunch of drilling, because this has a inlay of tortoise inlay right on the tailpiece, right underneath the end pin of the guitar. This is, the binding's all tortoise, and this has tortoise here. So I didn't want to have to drill and crack that. So it fits perfectly as far as I know. So now I'm going to take out the other pickup with do no damage. That's my motto. I'll be right back. So here is the Fishman pickup that's coming out of the Martin guitar. Came out in one piece. And if you'd like to buy it, just let me know. I'll sell it to you. It works great, but there's no volume control on it. So that's the one coming out. And now we have an LR bags going in, and I'm going to show you how that works here in just a minute. The wires are held in, the little clamps, they're just sticky taped onto the guitar inside there. So they just pop off, and you get new ones with the new pickup. So I'm going to show you, I already tested the pickup will fit through the hole that the other one came in, but the LR bags likes to go out another hole, likes to come up in and go out another hole, because at the very end of the pickup on the LR bags, they have a little material, and you want that out of the way so you get a nice clean pickup. And I think you can see that the one I'm taking out is thinner than the one I'm putting back in there, so I'll probably need to do some adjustment. Well, we'll show you as we go along. I did need a 13mm wrench to get the tailpiece off. I used a pair of pliers for the very end piece with a rag on the end piece where you plug in, and I turned it out, and then you're going to find a nut and bolt or a nut in there So you have to have a wrench to take it off. That was a 13mm wrench. We'll see what size this one going in is. Looks, I think it's more like a 12, the new one going in. So I'm going to show you that. So one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to know the depth of the inside of the guitar here at the base, because you're going to have to, there's an adjustment nut on here so that you get the right depth of this coming out, so that when you put it in and tighten it down, it tightens down, doesn't break anything, and then you're allowed to put the end cap on from the outside. So we'll have to take a measurement to get this at the right depth. That'll probably be next. Be right back. Because I was taking an end piece out, I didn't have to get too scientific and get all my fancy measuring tools out. What I did is I put the two pieces together and got the height from that, okay, from the one that came out. So I know that the distance should be about the same. We'll find out. Now, a next trick I'm going to show you. Normally you would have a string left over. You'd replace your string, so you'd have a string. So you want to save a guitar string, because we're going to put a guitar string, we're going to slip a guitar string through the back of the guitar and bring it up here so that we can hook it onto the end of this piece and pull it out the hole. I'll show you as we go. Okay, now comes the tricky part, a drill and a beautiful Martin guitar. So I've got my protector on. I'm going to drill the same size hole, which is a 3/32 hole, at the other end of the bridge where the saddle goes, so that I can have the piezo come out the other side. Let's make sure we got the drill in there good. We have to be really careful. This has a bubble on the top of the drill, so I can keep it pretty straight. We're going to try to go through without, okay. I think we're through. I don't want to slam down the drill. I believe we got through there. I'm actually going to clean up this hole over here while I'm here. Just make it a little nicer. Okay, that's the drilling part. The scary part so far is out of the way. We'll be right back. Okay, so I strung a 13 gauge guitar string through the back hole, up through the sound hole. I've connected it to the little hole in the tailpiece. So now we are going to try to snake this through, not lose any washers, try to keep it as straight as humanly possible, and get it out the back side in one piece. This is a tricky maneuver, no doubt about it. This is the hardest, probably the hardest part of this whole thing. We'll get it. Hold on. We'll get it. We'll get it. Slowly but surely. Here we go. Okay, so I'll have to, I don't know if you can see this, but we did get it to come out the back side with the string still on it. That's one of the big tricky parts of this job. Careful you don't scratch your guitar with strings. Okay, let's settle it back down again. Okay, so we have it out the back. Now we'll see how well we did with that little measurement that we made. And we're going to put a washer and a nut from this side while keeping everything straight and keeping all the wires where you can use them. So I'll be right back as that goes along. Okay, so here's where we are. We pulled the end piece through the end of the guitar with the string. We took the string off. I made sure that while holding it from the inside, I made sure that I could tighten it down without breaking anything. I also made sure that my little cap would tighten on the top of it. And I'll show you this end of it when we're done here so you'll know what I'm talking about. Then the next part was we had to string this piezo through the bridge and out the other side. That's always tricky. So I put the drill bit down in the hole through so I could feel it, and then I came up with the piezo from the bottom and, you know, felt the drill, and then finally snaked the piezo through the hole and then out the other hole that I made so that you'll get the best part of the piezo. So we want to get that down where we can feel it. That's probably too much. And then we're going to just let it get flat here. Flatten it out. And then we can maybe put our bridge in temporarily, our saddle, to hold things while we do some of the other work. Okay. We will get to the bottom of this. Right now we're just holding that because we also have the volume control to install. And obviously one of the first things that you want to do before you install anything is to make sure that your volume control will fit where it's supposed to go and that none of the bracing is going to be in the way of it. So that should go there. Then the battery connection should work out okay. The wiring then all has to be brought to the back and ran through some of those little tabs, which is one of the last things we will do. So we are going to stick a battery up here and connect that part. That's next. Hang on. Okay, I put a new battery in there. This kit comes with a nice little battery holder bag, Velcro style, that has double-sided tape that you would install, but because I already had a bracket mounted in there, I didn't use this. But you get everything you need in the kit. You also get the little metal holders to hold your wires up out of the way. So you're trying to run your wires out of the way. The next step is you're going to install the volume switch. It has double-sided tape. I'm going to install that, but I've installed these before and I know that that double-sided tape doesn't always work, and you might have to come back and do a couple of dabs of super glue on here, the super glue gel, so that it's not, you know, instantly stuck on there. So we'll see how it works with the double-sided tape that came on it. And if it falls off, I won't panic because I've had this happen before. So I'm going to put this right in here between the bracing. I'd like to have the volume where I can see that it says volume there. And I can see that. I'll show you all this later. I'm sticking this on real good. I pulled the double-sided tape off. Okay, now we're going to take a look and see what we're doing with this saddle, if we need to do some work on this saddle or not. So let me do some quick measurements and I'll be right back. Okay, I got real lucky with this saddle. I didn't have to do anything with it. It was about the same size. I put it together and I measured it, and it's exactly the same place it was when I took it apart. So I am extremely happy, and the action is really good on here. I'm going to plug it in here in a minute for you. But I just wanted to show you, the tailpiece we talked about. See, there's tortoise tailpiece back there. I was hoping I wouldn't have to drill anything on that to make it correct. But if you're installing one of these elements from scratch and you just had a regular strap pin back there, you're probably going to have to drill a hole, and it's probably going to be about a 1/2 inch hole. You can use a step drill. First you'd put a pilot hole. You take out your pin and you'd put a pilot hole a little bigger, and maybe put a couple of them, go bigger and bigger and bigger, and keep checking them. But I believe you're going to end up at about a 1/2 inch, which was what I stuck this drill in that hole, and that's about what size it is. Okay, so let me plug this in and see how it sounds. We'll be right back. Okay, here we are with the finished product of this beautiful little Martin. We got the LR bags installed. It sounds really, really good. You can control the volume from here. I chose to just put a volume control and not a volume tone because I don't use this guitar very much electrified, but if I do now, I can control it. So here it is with just a little bit of volume in its normal state. I have it running through a DI box, but it's shut off right now. So I'm very happy with the sound on that. I didn't have to mess with the bridge at all. The action's right back to where it was before. I'm very happy with it. I showed you the tailpiece on it. It just fits great. It looks good now because this has gold accents, and we have an almost gold tailpiece now, kind of a bronzy looking one, but it's better than the chrome one that was on there. So if I turn the DI box on, then you can really richen the sound of this guitar up. Not that I think you need it, but I am very happy with this whole installation, and I did no harm, which is the first rule of any luthier and physician. First, do no harm. So we'll see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, please subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell, and we'll let you know when there's one coming up, and hit the like button if you like it. And if you have some questions about this, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them if I can. And we're going to see you in the next video. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but I'm working on a couple of them. See you soon. Bye.